You've felt it, right? That moment when his actions don't quite line up with his words. The way he seems to pull back, then draw near again, leaving you questioning what's real. It's like a game, one that you didn't sign up for, but can't seem to escape. He looks at you with eyes full of intention, but something shifts, and you're left wondering where you stand. It's confusing, isn't it? It's that blend of affection and distance, of connection and uncertainty. But behind all of that, there's something deeper going on, a struggle within him that he can't fully express, a fear of losing control. And maybe, just maybe, it's the fear of needing you more than he's willing to admit. Watch this video till the end to understand why men play these mind games when they're falling for you, and how you can see through them. You've felt it, haven't you? The moment when everything seems fine, and then out of nowhere he pulls away. It's like the air shifts, the connection goes quiet, and you're left wondering what just happened. You can feel the distance growing, even though nothing has really changed. It's like you're on the edge, wanting to reach out, but somehow he's already a step back, pulling away from the very closeness that felt so real moments ago. It hurts. It feels like rejection, like you've been shut out, even though you've done nothing wrong. And in that moment, it's hard not to take it personally, to wonder if maybe you're not enough, or if he doesn't want you the way you want him. But here's the truth. It's not about you. It's not that he doesn't want you. It's that he's struggling with how deeply he feels. The closer he gets to you, the more his emotions pull him in a direction he's not entirely ready for. It's like he's standing on the edge of something he can't quite define, something he's terrified of falling into. It's the push and pull, the instinct to get closer, and the urge to retreat at the same time. And this emotional tug of war isn't a game, it's real. It's his internal battle, and it's rooted in something deeper than just the surface attraction. When he pulls away, it might feel like you're being pushed out, but what he's really doing is trying to protect himself. It's not that he wants to shut you out, it's that he doesn't know how to open up without feeling like he's losing a part of himself. The fear of getting too attached, too dependent, is what drives him to distance himself. It's not that he's not interested, he is. In fact, the more he feels for you, the more he starts to pull away, because he doesn't know how to handle those emotions. He doesn't know how to let someone in without feeling like he might lose control. And it's not just about fear of being hurt, it's about the fear of becoming so entwined with you that he forgets how to be himself. You see, men often struggle with this idea of independence. They've been taught that needing someone is a sign of weakness. So when they start to care, when the feelings run deeper than they're comfortable with, the first instinct is to pull away. It's not because they don't want to be with you. It's because they don't know how to balance their feelings for you with their fear of losing their own identity. This push and pull, it's a cycle. He pulls away to protect himself, to hold on to his sense of control. But the more he pulls, the more he realizes he's still thinking about you. He can't stop thinking about you, because deep down he knows you're important. He knows this connection with you isn't something to be ignored. But at the same time, he's afraid of what it might mean. He's afraid of how deeply he's falling, and the fear of losing himself in you feels overwhelming. You might feel the frustration in this, the confusion of it all. Why can't he just be honest with you? Why does he keep distancing himself when you've given him everything? But what you need to understand is that this is not about you pulling away. It's about him confronting the depth of his emotions and being terrified of losing himself in the process. He's not trying to shut you out. He's trying to figure out how to let you in without losing himself in the process. It's an emotional tug of war, and it's not easy for him to navigate. But here's the breakthrough for both of you. The more you realize that this push and pull isn't about you, it's about him, the more you can see the deeper truth. His struggle is real, and it's not a reflection of how he feels about you. It's a reflection of how hard it is for him to let someone in, to allow himself to need someone. The pullback isn't about you being too much. It's about him being afraid of needing too much. And understanding that shifts everything. When you realize this, when you truly understand that the push and pull isn't a rejection but an internal struggle, you can stop taking it personally. You can begin to see him for who he is. Someone who's afraid to lose control. Someone who's afraid of how much he needs you, even though he doesn't want to. And in that understanding, something changes. The emotional wall he's built to protect himself starts to crack. He starts to let you in, because the fear of needing you isn't stronger than the truth of how much he cares. And that's the real breakthrough. The moment when he finally lets go of the fear of losing himself in you, and realizes that the connection you share is something worth fighting for. You're no longer just a part of his life, you're essential to it. And once he understands that, the pullback fades, the fear subsides, and what's left is something stronger than either of you ever expected. The connection, the bond, the truth that he can be himself with you, completely without losing who he is. And in that realization, you both find peace. You've seen it, haven't you? That moment when his walls come up, just as you're starting to get closer. The smile fades, the gaze shifts. His words become more guarded, and for a second, it feels like you've lost him. It's not because he doesn't care, it's because he's afraid. Afraid of the very thing he's feeling for you. Vulnerability isn't easy for him. And the more he feels, the more the fear builds inside him. He doesn't know how to let it in without losing control, without exposing a part of himself he's kept buried for so long. The more he cares, the more terrified he becomes that he might lose himself in you. It's hard to understand, isn't it? You see how deeply he feels for you, how his eyes soften when he looks at you, how his actions show just how much he wants to be close. But then there are those moments, those brief instances when he pulls back, when his emotions shift, and you're left wondering why it feels like you're losing him. The truth is, he's afraid. He's afraid of how much he's feeling. The more he allows himself to care, the more vulnerable he becomes. And that scares him more than you might realize. Men don't often talk about vulnerability. They've been taught to keep their feelings in check, to stay composed, to never show too much of themselves. It's an armor they wear to protect themselves from the world. So when someone like you comes into their life, someone who makes them feel something real, something intense, it's like their whole world shifts. It's like the ground beneath them starts to tremble, and they don't know how to keep their balance. The more they care for you, the more they fear what that means. They fear losing control over their own emotions, and in turn, they push you away. Because letting you in means letting go of the walls they've built to protect themselves. This fear isn't just about being hurt. It's about being vulnerable enough to feel something deeper than they're prepared for. It's one thing to admire someone, to be attracted to them, but it's a whole different thing to let them see you, to really see you. And when they start to let their guard down, when they let you in, they're not just opening up to you, they're opening up to the possibility of needing you. And that need, that dependence, is what scares them. It's the fear of losing themselves in you, of becoming so entwined in the connection that they can't get out. The truth is, it's not that he doesn't trust you. It's not that he doesn't want to be with you. It's that he's afraid of being too vulnerable, of showing you the parts of himself that he's always hidden. It's the parts of him that are raw, fragile, and untouchable. The parts of him he's never allowed anyone to see. And when you come into his life and start chipping away at those walls, it forces him to confront those fears, the ones he spent years pushing down. It's an internal battle that he doesn't know how to fight. And as much as he wants to let you in, he's afraid that if he does, he won't be able to find his way back to the man he used to be. And here's where the shift happens. He doesn't want to keep pushing you away. He doesn't want to retreat into himself every time things get real. But this fear, this internal struggle, is something he has to face head on. And that's where you come in. By simply being there, by showing him that it's okay to feel, to open up, to trust you with his heart, you're helping him see something he's never seen before. That vulnerability doesn't make him weak. It makes him stronger. That showing his true self to someone else doesn't take away from who he is. It adds to it. You're teaching him that being open doesn't mean losing control. It means gaining it. And that's when the breakthrough happens. When he finally starts to accept that it's okay to feel, to let you in, he's no longer afraid. He's no longer afraid of being vulnerable because he realizes that his vulnerability is not a threat. It's a gift. It's the key to a deeper connection with you. A connection that goes beyond attraction, beyond the surface level. It's the beginning of something real, something he's been afraid of for so long, but now he's ready to embrace it. When you understand this, when you realize that his emotional distance is a defense mechanism, you begin to see him in a new light. You see that his fear isn't about you. It's about him confronting something within himself that he's never allowed anyone else to see. And when you see that, you understand that the deeper he feels, the more he's struggling with his own emotions, and the more you give him the space to be vulnerable, the more you become the safe haven for him to be his true self. In the end, you realize something powerful. The more he opens up, the more he allows himself to be seen by you, the stronger your connection becomes. And when he finally lets go of that fear, when he stops hiding from his emotions, that's when you both discover a depth of intimacy that's unlike anything either of you could have imagined. You've helped him break down the walls he's been hiding behind, and in doing so, you've found something real, something lasting. And that's the transformation. You've felt it, haven't you? The way he seems to pull back when things start to get too real, too close. It's almost like there's a wall that goes up, suddenly he's distant, and you're left trying to figure out why, when everything seems so good between you two. It doesn't make sense, right? One moment, he's open, he's present, and the next, it feels like you're losing him. And in that moment, you might wonder, what happened? What did I do? Why does it feel like I'm being pushed away when I thought we were growing closer? But here's the thing, this isn't about you. This is about him. It's about something deeper than what you can see on the surface. Men, just like everyone else, are carrying their own fears, their own insecurities, and when they start to care about someone, when they start to really feel something for you, those fears surface. They ask themselves questions like, am I enough for her? Do I measure up? What if I'm not what she needs? And that right there is where the distance comes from. It's not that he's losing interest or that he doesn't care. In fact, it's the opposite. The more he feels, the more vulnerable he becomes. And that vulnerability is something he's not used to showing. Men are often taught to hide their insecurities behind pride, to be strong, to keep their emotions in check. They build walls around their feelings to protect themselves from the possibility of being hurt. So when he starts feeling something for you that goes deeper than he's comfortable with, his immediate reaction is to pull back. It's his way of trying to protect himself. But you have to understand this. It's not about you. It's not about your worth or how much you mean to him. It's about his own fear. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of not living up to your expectations or of exposing parts of himself that he's kept hidden for so long. He doesn't want to let you down, but he's afraid of letting you see just how insecure he feels. And the only way he knows how to deal with that fear is to create space. You might find yourself questioning, why can't he just open up? Why can't he just tell me what's going on? And it's frustrating, isn't it? It's frustrating because you know he cares. You can feel it. You see it in his actions, in the way he shows up, in the way he listens to you. But when it comes to his own feelings, he pulls away. It's like he's caught in a battle between wanting to connect and being afraid of what that connection might mean for him. The more he cares, the more vulnerable he feels. And that's when the distance shows up. But this distance, it's not a sign that he's losing interest. It's the opposite. It's his internal struggle playing out. It's his way of trying to protect himself from the fear that comes with caring too much. And the truth is, he's not even aware of it half the time. He's not consciously pushing you away. He's just trying to find a way to handle the overwhelming feelings without feeling like he's losing control. And here's where the shift happens for both of you. Because once you understand that this distance isn't a reflection of his lack of care, but rather his fear of not being enough, everything changes. You stop taking it personally. You realize that this emotional distance is just his defense mechanism, the way he tries to cope with the insecurity that's lurking underneath. And in that realization, you have a choice. You can either let the distance grow, let the walls stay up between you, or you can become the safe space for him to open up. You can create the kind of environment where he feels like it's okay to be vulnerable, where he doesn't have to hide behind pride or fear. When you show him that it's okay to be imperfect, that it's okay to not have all the answers, you become the place where he can drop the walls and finally let you in. This is where the transformation begins. When you start to understand the root of his distance, when you see it for what it truly is, a defense against vulnerability, you can help him break down those walls. You can be the person who shows him that it's safe to feel, safe to be real, safe to be afraid, and still loved. Because once he realizes that his vulnerability doesn't make him weak, but instead makes him stronger, that's when the distance melts away. That's when he stops holding back, stops pushing you away, and starts opening up in ways that will deepen your connection. And that moment, when he finally lets go of the fear of not being enough, when he allows himself to be seen for who he truly is, that's when everything changes. That's when you both step into something real, something lasting, something built on honesty, vulnerability, and love. And in that moment, you'll both realize that the distance wasn't a sign that he didn't care. It was the exact opposite. It was his fear of losing control. But once that fear is faced and broken down, you'll both discover a bond that is deeper than you ever expected. A bond that no longer has room for insecurity, but only for the truth of who you both are together. Have you ever felt it? The distance that suddenly appears, even though things seem to be moving perfectly between you two. It's like one moment, everything is aligned, and the next, he pulls away. His presence starts to feel distant, like a shift you can't explain, and you're left wondering, what happened? The truth is, it's not about you. It's not about what you did or didn't do. It's about him and what's happening inside of him. Because when a man starts to feel too much, when his emotions begin to overwhelm him, he tries to control it. And often the way he does that is by pulling back. It's an instinctive move, a way of holding on to something he feels slipping away, even when there's no need to hold it at all. The more he starts to feel for you, the more intense those emotions become, the more he feels like he's losing control. And when he's in that place, the only thing he can think to do is to regain control by distancing himself. He doesn't know how to handle the depth of his feelings, how to let himself be vulnerable without feeling like he's losing himself in the process. And so he pulls away, he creates space. Not because he wants to shut you out, but because he's afraid. He's afraid of what it means to need someone this much. You see, for many men, vulnerability is terrifying. It's not a weakness they've been taught to embrace. It's something they've been taught to avoid. They've spent so long building walls around their theirs, protecting themselves from the possibility of hurt, that when something real comes along, something that forces them to feel deeply, their natural instinct is to shut down. It's not that they don't want you, it's that they're afraid of how much they need you. They're afraid of what it means to depend on someone, to let themselves go and trust that person with their heart. So they pull back, they push you away, not because they're not interested, but because they can't bear the thought of losing control. And here's the thing, by doing this, they're not just pushing you away, they're pushing away their own feelings. They're creating this illusion of control, but in reality it's a lie. Because the more they try to control their feelings, the more they lose themselves in the process. The distance they create isn't a sign of disinterest. It's a defense mechanism, a desperate attempt to hold on to something they feel is slipping away. And the more they try to control it, the more they risk losing what they've built with you. It's like they're standing on the edge, afraid to step forward, because they can't predict what will happen if they do. This is where the struggle lies for them. They want to let you in. They want to be with you. But they don't know how to let go of the control they've worked so hard to maintain. The more they start to care for you, the more they feel like they're walking a tightrope, afraid that one wrong step could lead them to lose everything. So they pull away, they hide behind walls, convincing themselves that they can handle it alone, that they can avoid the pain of vulnerability by controlling the situation. But in doing that, they're only hurting themselves. They're only making things more complicated. And this is where the breakthrough happens, for both of you. When you understand that this distance isn't about you, it becomes easier to see it for what it really is. His fear, his struggle with control. It's not rejection, it's an emotional conflict inside of him that he doesn't know how to handle. And when you recognize that, when you realize that the more he cares, the more he feels the need to control those feelings, something shifts. You stop taking it personally. You stop questioning your worth or wondering why he's pulling away. You start to see that his behavior is driven by something deeper. He's afraid of needing you. He's afraid of being vulnerable. But here's the key. The more he tries to control his emotions, the more he's losing sight of what's real. The more he holds on, the more he risks losing the very thing he's trying to protect. And this is the realization that will change everything for him and for you. The illusion of control isn't real. It's a facade that only leads to more pain, more distance, and more confusion. The only way forward, the only way to truly connect, is to let go, to trust, to stop hiding behind walls, to stop trying to control what you're both feeling, and let yourselves be vulnerable, raw, and real. Because in the end, control isn't what keeps you close. It's the ability to let go, to let your feelings flow without fear, that will build the kind of connection you both crave. And that's the breakthrough. When he realizes that his need to control isn't protecting him but holding him back, that's when the walls begin to come down. That's when the distance fades and the true connection begins. The one that isn't based on fear but on trust. And when that happens, you'll both discover that the illusion of control was never the thing that mattered. It was the vulnerability, the openness, the willingness to step into the unknown together that creates something real, something lasting. You've probably felt it, the silence that lingers, the moments when he pulls back, just enough to make you wonder if something has shifted. It's confusing, isn't it? One minute, everything feels fine, and the next he seems distant, almost unreachable. It's as if there's an invisible wall between you, and you can't quite figure out why. He's not saying anything. He's not expressing what's going on in his mind, but you can feel the distance. And in that silence, you might begin to wonder, does he still care? Is something wrong? Did I do something to push him away? The truth is, it's not that he's losing interest. It's not that he doesn't want to be with you. It's that, deep down, he's unsure. Unsure about how you feel. Unsure about whether or not what he's feeling is returned. He may not show it, may not say it aloud, but the need for reassurance is there. Men in particular often struggle to express the vulnerability that comes with needing emotional confirmation. They're not always comfortable with asking for what they need, especially when it comes to emotions. So instead of expressing their doubts, they retreat, creating emotional distance because they're afraid of feeling exposed, afraid of needing too much. What they need, even when they can't ask for it, is for you to show them that they matter, for you to make them feel like they're not the only one carrying this connection, that the emotional investment is mutual. But instead of saying that, instead of coming to you directly with their doubts, they pull away. And that's where the confusion starts, because it feels like they're shutting you out. It feels like they're distancing themselves from you, and you wonder if it's something you did. But what's actually happening is this. They're waiting for you to bridge that gap, to reassure them in your own way that your feelings are just as strong, just as deep as theirs. And it's not easy for them. It's not easy to open up, to ask for the reassurance they need. They may fear that if they express their doubts, they'll seem weak or needy, or like they're asking for something too much. But here's the truth. When they pull back, when they give you space, it's not about wanting to distance themselves from you. It's because they're uncertain. They're unsure whether you feel the same, and they're waiting for you to take the step they can't. They're waiting for you to close that distance, to show them that you're in this together, to assure them, without words, that they're not alone in this connection. And this is where the shift begins. Once you realize that this distance isn't a sign of losing interest, but a reflection of their internal struggle, you can start to understand why they're pulling back. It's not rejection, it's fear. Fear that their feelings might not be returned. Fear that, by getting closer to you, they're exposing a side of themselves they've worked so hard to protect. And the deeper they care for you, the more they fear that they'll lose control, that they'll fall too hard, too fast, without knowing for sure where you stand. But once you recognize this, everything changes. The emotional distance that you've been feeling, it's not a wall, it's a plea for reassurance. It's a call for connection. It's a silent request for you to show them, in your own way, that you feel just as deeply. And when you take that step, when you show him, with your actions and your words, that you are as invested as he is, that the connection is real, that's when everything falls into place. Because here's the breakthrough. Men often need reassurance, not because they don't trust you, but because they need to trust themselves in the relationship. They need to know that their feelings are not one-sided, that they can lean into this connection without fear of being let down. And when you give them that assurance, when you close the gap and show them that you're just as emotionally committed as they are, it opens the door for something deeper. The distance fades, the walls crumble, and you both step into a space where you're no longer unsure. You're both fully invested in each other. And in that moment, something powerful happens. You realize that the silence, the distance, it wasn't rejection, it was just his way of asking, without words, for the reassurance he needed. And when you gave it to him, you created a connection that was built, not on doubt, but on trust. And that trust is what will keep you both growing, both moving forward together. You've seen it, the way he pulls back, the way he grows distant even as you both move closer. It's subtle at first, almost unnoticeable, but you feel it. One moment, he's warm, engaged, fully present. The next, he's a little more distant, like there's something pulling him away that you can't quite grasp. You're left wondering, what happened? The truth is, what's happening inside of him is something deeper than you can see. It's not that he doesn't want you, it's that he doesn't know what it means to need you. You see, for many men, wanting someone is safe. Wanting means they can keep things at arm's length. Wanting is comfortable because it gives them control. It's the part of the connection that they can manage, that they can decide when to engage with and when to pull back. But then something shifts. They start feeling something more than just wanting. They start feeling like they need you. And that's when things get complicated. Needing you feels like a loss of control. It means allowing someone else to become a part of their world in a way that's not easy for them. It's vulnerable, it's raw, it's real, and that's terrifying. Because when they need you, it means that you have power over them. Not in a controlling way, but in the way that only deep emotional connection can. It means that their emotions, their well-being, are no longer entirely in their control. They've let you in so far that your presence has become a part of their emotional landscape. And that's when the fear kicks in. So, what does he do? He pulls back. He creates space. He becomes distant. Not because he doesn't care, but because he's terrified of needing you. He doesn't want to be vulnerable. He doesn't want to be exposed, to show you how much he's falling, how much of himself he's giving to you. And in that moment, he might feel like the best way to protect himself is to step away, to try to regain some semblance of control over his emotions. But here's where it gets complicated. As much as he tries to distance himself, the truth is, the more he needs you, the more he can't stay away. That's the paradox. He wants you, he's drawn to you, he's emotionally invested, but he's also afraid of being too attached, afraid of losing himself in the process. And this inner conflict is where the emotional distance comes from. The closer he gets to needing you, the more he pulls away, not because of anything you've done, but because he's struggling with the weight of those emotions. He doesn't know how to reconcile the desire for closeness with the fear of losing control. This is where you feel the push and pull. He wants to be close to you, to share his life with you, but he doesn't know how to handle the vulnerability that comes with needing someone. And this is where the shift happens. The realization that this distance isn't about rejection, it's about fear. Fear of becoming too dependent, of becoming too emotionally tied to someone else. He's caught between wanting to let you in and wanting to hold on to the independence he's always had. And the more he cares for you, the more that conflict intensifies. But here's the powerful part. He needs you, whether he can admit it to himself or not. And this realization, once it starts to break through the walls of fear he's built, is the turning point. Because when he finally lets himself admit that needing you doesn't make him weak, it makes him human. That's when things start to change. That's when the emotional distance starts to close, and the walls he's built around his heart begin to come down. It won't be immediate. It won't be easy. But over time, as the fear fades and the realization settles in that needing someone doesn't mean losing yourself, the space between you will shrink. And when he finally stops fighting the depth of his feelings, when he lets himself lean into the need instead of running from it, that's when you both step into a new kind of connection. One that's not just based on wanting, but on truly needing each other in a way that strengthens you both. Because in the end, the need isn't about control. It's about trust. It's about the vulnerability of letting someone else into your life, fully and completely, and allowing them to see you in ways that most people never will. And when he's ready to stop hiding from that need, when he's ready to let go of the fear and embrace the depth of his feelings, that's when the transformation happens. That's when the real bond is formed, and you both realize that the only way forward is to let yourselves need each other. And that need, it becomes the foundation of something deeper, stronger, and more lasting than anything either of you could have imagined. You can feel it, can't you? The shifts, the unpredictability. One moment, he's open, warm, fully present. And then, without warning, there's a coldness, a distance. It's subtle, but it's there. A change in his tone, a step back in his body language. You try to make sense of it, but it doesn't quite add up. Does he care? Is he pulling away? You start second-guessing yourself, wondering what you did wrong. But here's the truth. It's not about you, it's about him, and the emotional games he's playing, whether he realizes it or not. When a man starts to feel deeply, something shifts inside him. It's not always about the words he says or the things he does. Often, it's the things he doesn't say, the actions he doesn't take, the distance he creates when he's afraid of getting too close. What you're experiencing, the back and forth, the push and pull, isn't just his inability to commit or his lack of interest. It's emotional confusion. He's grappling with feelings that are more intense than he's ready to handle. And in that confusion, he starts to play games, whether he knows it or not. Why? Because he's unsure of how deep this connection goes, unsure of how he fits into your life. When men start to care, they start testing the waters, trying to figure out if you'll chase them, if you'll respond to their uncertainty. It's a way for them to feel out the situation without risking their own vulnerability. It's not that they don't care, it's that they don't know how to handle the depth of their emotion. They pull away, not because they want to, but because it's their way of seeing if you'll stay, if you'll show them that you're in this too. And it's in this emotional confusion that the games begin. These games are often about control. When they pull back, it's not about rejecting you. It's about seeing if you'll fight for them. It's about seeing if you'll chase. And when you do, when you respond to their retreat with patience, with understanding, they're left wondering, Do I really have control over this situation, or am I just letting myself fall for her? And the deeper they fall, the more they pull away. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. But the fear of losing control, of being vulnerable, makes them test the waters again and again. They don't even realize they're doing it, but they're playing a game that's born from uncertainty and fear. Now imagine for a moment what this does to you. You're caught in the middle, trying to understand why the distance is growing, why the affection sometimes feels like it's being pulled back. You're not sure if you should lean in or pull away. You're questioning your own feelings, wondering if he's truly invested, if this is worth the effort. It's exhausting, isn't it? The constant back and forth, the emotional roller coaster that leaves you feeling drained and unsure. But here's the breakthrough. Recognizing these games for what they are is the key to understanding his deeper feelings. The truth is, he doesn't know how to navigate these emotions. He's testing you because he's testing himself. He's trying to figure out how much of himself he can give without losing control, without risking his heart. He's afraid of feeling too much, of becoming too dependent. But the more he tries to test the waters, the more he's unknowingly deepening his attachment to you. And that's where the transformation happens for both of you. When you recognize that these emotional games are born from his fear of vulnerability, you stop taking them personally. You understand that this isn't about you, it's about him wrestling with the intensity of his feelings. And here's the shift. Instead of playing into the games, instead of chasing or retreating, you hold space for him to confront his own fears. You stop responding to the uncertainty with confusion or frustration. Instead, you meet him where he is, with patience, with understanding, and with the quiet confidence that you are secure in your own feelings. You stop feeding the cycle of emotional games by not reacting to them. You show him that you're not afraid of his vulnerability, that you're not afraid of being real with each other, even when it feels uncertain. The more you show up, not as a player in the game, but as someone who is ready to be real, the more he begins to trust you. Slowly, the games stop, and the walls come down. The uncertainty fades, and what's left is a connection that's built on honesty, not on emotional tests. And in that moment, when the games are over, you both find something deeper than what either of you was expecting, something lasting. The realization that you're not just playing games anymore, you're both in it, together. No more confusion, no more fear, just a real connection, one that's been forged in the fire of uncertainty, and now shines with the clarity of truth. You've felt it, haven't you? That moment when everything seems to be falling into place, and then suddenly he pulls back. The warmth, the connection, the closeness, it starts to feel like it's slipping away, and you're left wondering why. He craves the closeness. You can see it in the way he looks at you, in the way he reaches for you when you're near. But then, just as things seem to be getting real, he starts to distance himself. It's confusing. One moment he's all in, and the next he's cold, distant, unsure. And you start to question what changed. The truth is, it's not about you, it's about him. And his fear is something deep, something rooted in his sense of self. Independence, the very thing he's prided himself on for so long. The very thing that has made him feel in control, secure, and capable of navigating life on his own terms. When a man falls for you, he risks losing a piece of that independence. It's not that he doesn't want you, it's that he doesn't know how to reconcile his need for closeness with his need for autonomy. For most men, independence is their anchor. It's what defines them, what gives them strength. The idea of needing someone, relying on someone, and becoming emotionally intertwined with another person can feel like a threat to that. It's not about mistrust, and it's certainly not about a lack of desire to be close to you. It's about the internal battle between wanting to open up and be with you, and the fear of losing the control they've worked so hard to maintain. When they start to fall for you, when they begin to really care, the balance shifts. They feel themselves being pulled in, wanting to be with you, wanting to give you everything. But in that desire, they feel the tension building, the fear of losing themselves in the process. The more they care, the more they feel like they might lose their identity in this connection, and that fear becomes powerful. It can cause them to retreat, to create space, to pull back emotionally, because they don't know how to keep their independence and be close to you at the same time. It's a delicate dance. He's not trying to push you away. He's trying to protect the part of himself that he feels slipping away. When he pulls back, it's his way of keeping his sense of control, his ability to stand on his own. But the more he does this, the more he feels torn between two worlds, one where he is independent, emotionally self-sufficient, and in control, and one where he is emotionally open, vulnerable, and invested in you. The more he gives you, the more he fears he's losing that independence, losing himself. You might feel hurt by this, confused by his sudden distance. You may wonder why he doesn't just let go and let you in completely. But understand this, his need for autonomy isn't about rejecting you. It's about his inner fear of losing something that's defined him for so long. It's the internal conflict between what he wants and what he fears. And when you see it for what it really is, you begin to understand that his distance is a reflection of his struggle, not his lack of care. And here's where the shift happens. The more you understand this fear, the more you realize that you don't have to fight for his attention or chase him. You just have to be patient. You have to create a space where he doesn't feel like he's losing himself, but where he can also experience the depth of what he feels for you. You don't need to push him into vulnerability. You don't need to force him to give more than he's ready for. You just need to show him that there's room for both, the connection with you and his sense of independence. When he begins to see that he doesn't have to choose between you and himself, that he can be emotionally close to you and still retain his individuality, that's when the true transformation happens. The fear of losing himself fades, and the bond between you both deepens. The walls he's built to protect his independence start to come down, not because he's losing himself, but because he's finally realizing that being close to you doesn't mean he has to give up who he is. This is where the breakthrough occurs. The more he allows himself to let you in, the more he understands that closeness doesn't mean losing his identity. It means growing together. The emotional distance fades, the tension lifts, and what's left is a connection that's built on mutual respect, trust, and the understanding that both autonomy and closeness can exist side by side. And that moment, the moment when he lets go of the fear, when he realizes he can love you without losing himself, is the moment that changes everything. Because when that fear is gone, what's left is the freedom to love fully, deeply, and without reservation. And in that space, you both find a love that doesn't take away from who you are, but allows you both to grow together. You've seen it. You've felt it. Even if he hasn't said the words you've been waiting for. The way he shows up for you. The small things he does when you least expect it. The quiet presence he gives without needing to speak a single word. It's not always grand gestures or sweeping declarations, but there's something in his actions that tells you he's invested. You can feel it, even in his silence. But the question that haunts you is, why doesn't he say it? Why doesn't he just say what he feels? Here's the truth. Sometimes words aren't necessary. They're not always the way he communicates what's in his heart. The silence, it's not a sign of distance or hesitation. It's a sign of commitment. It's his way of showing up for you, of silently carrying the weight of his feelings, without needing to vocalize them. You see, for many men, expressing emotions with words isn't as natural as it might be for others. But in the way they act, in the way they give, in the way they prioritize your needs, they're speaking louder than any words could. It's easy to doubt when the words don't come, to wonder if his silence means he's not fully invested. But in reality, that silence can often speak volumes. He may not say, "I'm all in," or "I'm here for you," but look at what he does. Look at the moments when he shows up without being asked, without expectation, because that's where his commitment lies. It's in the small things, the way he listens to you, the way he takes care of you when you're feeling low, the way he shows up when you need him most. It's in his presence, not just his promises. But there's a deeper layer to this silence, something even harder to understand. It comes from a place of vulnerability. You see, for a man, committing to someone is an act of courage. It's a step into the unknown, a decision to give part of himself to you without knowing what the future holds. And that's terrifying. The silence you're hearing, it's not because he's unsure, it's because he's already made the choice to be committed to you in ways that go beyond words. His actions are his vows. His loyalty is in the way he stands by you, in the way he carries your burdens without complaint, in the way he shows you day after day that you matter to him in ways words can't capture. But why does it hurt when he doesn't say it? It's natural. You want to hear it. You want the reassurance. You want to know that the man you're sharing your heart with is fully, completely all in. And when that silence lingers, it makes you question yourself. You start to wonder, am I not enough for him to say it? But here's the key. You already are. You've been enough all along. And his silence, it's just his way of keeping his promise to you, even if it's not loud or vocalized. He's showing up for you in ways that matter more than any words ever could. Now let me tell you something powerful. His silent commitment is often the strongest form of loyalty. It's not about the grand gestures or the promises he makes. It's about the quiet acts that happen in the background, the things he does for you without needing to be thanked, the sacrifices he's made for you without hesitation. When he's not just saying the right things but doing the right things, that's when you know his commitment is real. But here's the shift. Stop looking for validation in words. Start looking at his actions. Pay attention to the way he shows up for you, not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. When you see him in those moments, when he's there without being asked, when his actions align with his feelings, that's when you realize his silence isn't a void, it's his way of saying, I'm here, I'm in this with you. His commitment is in the way he gives, the way he stays, and the way he prioritizes you, even when you're not asking for it. And here's where the breakthrough happens. You don't need to hear it from his lips to know that he's committed to you. You don't need the reassurance because his actions have already proven it. The truth behind his silent commitment is that he's showing you what words cannot express. He's giving you all of him in ways that go beyond language, and that's a love that runs deeper than anything he could ever say. In the end, it's not about the words he speaks, it's about the way he makes you feel. And when you understand that, when you realize that his commitment is embedded in the way he shows up for you, that's when you truly feel secure. Because you'll know, deep down, that he's already given you everything you need to understand that he's here to stay.